You're listening to the Breezy Moms podcast on Digital Stream Radio.
Hey guys, our guest today is one of my favorite people to follow on social media because of the insane and ridiculous things she shares as part of her job as a TV news producer. So I was super surprised to find out that she has a daughter who I'd never seen a single picture of. She will join us later to talk about her decision to keep her baby off the internet. So stick around. Hey everyone, you're listening to the Breezy Moms podcast, a weekly show that chronicles the adventures of motherhood. I'm Candace. Now let's start the show. Hey guys.
Hey.
How are you?
It's another Thursday night and we're doing another episode of the Breezy Moms podcast.
We're here.
I feel like I just saw you yesterday, though.
Well, it was just a couple days ago. If you're not caught up, we did kind of like a bonus episode on Saturday.
That's right.
And so it does feel like we're checking in a lot sooner than usual, but I like it. I was like, oh my God,
mad. I just thought I got rid of her. And now she's like back
First
in the
of all,
chair.
so rude.
You know I love you, baby girl. So what's going on? How are you, Candace?
I'm good. I'm feeling fresh. I took out my hair.
Mm-hmm. It's looking fly.
Yeah. And then on Sunday we did like husband-wife shape-ups in the kitchen. So he did my, because I'm like shaved on the sides and the back. So he did mine and then I did his. It felt oddly, nice.
It
was
that
cool.
kind of stuff can turn into like serious foreplay, believe it or not. Just saying. But you've got this amazing little dude going on. It's like Mad Max meets like, the 21st century.
I know my friend called me Grace Jones the other day because when she saw me, I had actually it was Yash who's been on the show before.
Yeah.
I had a scarf on kind of draped over my head. And so I looked like her in that 007 movie.
Yeah.
I don't remember her character,
but I don't it's not Pussy Galore, is it?
It's this thing. Do you recognize this? You all can't see it, and she's got on like the black suit and then the black scarf on her head. And then she's holding James Bond over her head like this.
And she's going to throw him down?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. It's probably one of the James Bond movies where.
Oh, it's an old one with
Richard.
I don't know if that's his name.
No.
One of those old white guys.
The white guy with the beard, Sean Connery.
No, it's not that one. It was one of the other one.
After Sean Connery?
Before, I think.
Before him?
Before, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Some white man named Richard.
Anyway, I'm channeling her.
But it looks cute, though. Oh, and by the way, Grace Jones, I'm gagging because you know that Pride, World Pride is coming to New York City this year.
Okay, I did not know.
And so she is going to be the featured artist.
Ooh, she's so fly
closing the show on the pier, and I am gagging because she is everything.
Are you going?
Of course I'm going. We're going to be doing the show down there.
Ooh, so exciting.
Yeah, so
I can't wait to hear it.
Everything on the road.
Oh, that's exciting. And when is that?
That is actually June 27th, I believe. It's the last Sunday of the month of June, which is when they celebrate Pride in New York City.
Nice. And it's going to be down by the pier? Where?
Well, the parade starts all the way up, I believe, on like 54th Street or 55th, and it works its way down 5th Avenue, crosses over into the Village, and it ends on Christopher. So, and then right after that, people just go straight to the pier, which is like, I believe, Pier 40 or Pier 45, one of those two. And then from there, it's just party hardy.
I love it. Well, I was not mad at the comparison. And did I tell you that one year Lincoln and I were Grace Jones in 007 because he had a suit like from a wedding we had gone to, and I didn't know what I was going to do, and my hair's big anyway.
A lot of people don't know this though, but she was Riri before Riri was Riri, right? Because Grace Jones was super mad because when she was modeling, she couldn't find makeup for her tone, for her complexion.
And Riri, you mean Rihanna?
Yeah. So she made her own. She started
incredible.
Mixing her stuff, and she was like, fuck. Yes.
Well, she's Jamaican, so I don't expect anything less from her.
Yeah.
Love it.
So
anyway, so I'm feeling fresh with this like hair. My hair is out. And then we have, I don't know if I told you that James has a gala for school because he graduates this year. So there's all the end of program, I guess, activities.
Yeah.
And so the first of what I think are a few different activities is this gala, and it's tomorrow. So it's the first time in a long time that I've had to like look for a dress and think about being fancy. I tried on some high heel shoes. I legit haven't worn high heel shoes in like 5 years.
Oh, you'll be fine.
Easy. No, I'm not going to
Just
be
fall
fine.
once and get it out the way, and then you'll be fine.
No, it's not about falling. I think literally my calves have atrophied, or like my calves don't tighten in the way that you need to tighten to get up on your toes.
Have you
and
been
so I
walking
was
in
just
them?
like, no, I don't even have them. Just
How could you plan
So,
to wear
I
heels and not
don't
buy them ahead of
know.
time and walk in the house and
Listen.
walk them in?
Listen, that's not how motherhood works, okay? You just roll with what you've got.
You can use that as a weapon, you know. I'm just saying.
So so this is the first time that I tried Prime Wardrobe. We ordered like 4 or 5 dresses and a couple pairs of shoes, so they just arrived today, which of course the day before the event. Anyway, I already know that a couple of them are really nice, and then my mom also made me a custom dress that I'm super excited to see tomorrow. So I have a couple different things to choose from, and I've already seen my mom's dress, and I'm pretty sure that I'm going to go with that, but
You have options.
I just wanted to make sure I had some options. So she's going to be here tomorrow. She's coming in the morning, and she'll be here for the day because I still have to work. But the boys will see her. It's birthday week for Lincoln. Her and Lincoln have the same birthday. So it's kind of a big weekend. So even though the week has sort of been dragging on, it's going to end with a lot of excitement. So I'm excited.
That's awesome. So, Candace, I have a question for you.
I'm listening.
How are your boys?
The boys are good. Guess what?
What?
We've reached 5.
5.
5. I have been hearing about the magical 5. People are like, you just got to get him to 5. When he turns 5, it's a whole different ball game. Just get to 5. Just hold on. Make it to 5.
But they don't tell you if it's a real, like, a good whole different ball game or a
No, it's a
bad.
good. No, they do say it's a good. It's a good thing because once they turn 5, there's obviously he can't go out and get a job and like bring me money, but there's a whole nother level of sort of independence and awareness. Like he's still going to do foolish things like throw his lollipop stick on the floor in the car because like, what else am I going to do with it?
Mama told me I can't throw it out the window.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to stick it to the back seat.
Right. But like we've been working, actually and I don't want to put his business all the way in the street, but I was like, listen, I don't wipe the butts of 5-year-olds. So you got a couple more weeks of this, like insisting that I come in the bathroom and help you when I know you can do it on your own. And then that's it. Right. So like we've had this, he and I, for this specific thing is like, when you turn 5, you're in charge of all this whole process.
Get him a roll of paper, right? And wrap it in 5-year-old toilet paper and make it exciting for him and just say, here, this is your special toilet paper for 5-year-olds.
No, I'm not doing any of that. Wipe your ass. Just fix it.
I can't.
I'm not doing any of that. We've been talking about it for 3 weeks. So, anyway, now he's 5 and I can't even believe that I can't believe I've been a mom for over 5 years, and he's ginormous and he's wonderful and he's so handsome, and we signed him up for flag football, which I think I told you last week. So, and then the summer's coming. So I think it feels good. Now, when I walked into the kitchen before I was leaving tonight, Emery was not wearing any pants. When I put him in the kitchen, he was wearing pants. So, like, I have a little ways to go with
before
Emery.
You have another 5-year-old?
Another 5-year-old. But it feels good to have at least one 5-year-old in the house. And I just feel like his personality is just already, generally super helpful and super interested in what's going on. He asks a lot of questions in a way that's not always super annoying, but just inquisitive. And even in some cases when you're trying to, you know how kids ask you something and you try to redirect them or like not answer the question.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was that he asked me, but I tried to redirect him and just like ask about something else. And he goes, well, I really wanted to know about that, but it doesn't sound like you're answering me. So I guess we can talk about this other thing. I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like, those are the words he said to me.
Well, I mean, he's just letting you know. All right, you're not interested in that? I'm going to put that on the back burner because you know it's going to come back out.
Stick a pin in that.
And then after that, I'm going to come and ask you again. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, so he has been great, and his thing he wanted this year was a Bumblebee Transformer, which is near and dear to my heart because you know how much I love Transformers and particularly Bumblebee. So when he insisted a couple months ago that that's what he wanted, and he was like serious about it, James went out and got him one, and so he's been super happy about that. Even though I also bought him shark rain boots that I thought were super cool with the like dorsal fins on the back of the boots. He really didn't care about those. Now. He's 5 now. So like, I'm going to have to up my game. If I'm expecting more from him, then I also have to come with more. So it's really cool. I'm excited about it. And like I said, Emery is doing great. I mean, he was running around pantsless today, but that is its own form of greatness. I feel like I saw a thing somewhere that said kids who like to strip naked are actually geniuses. I don't know.
Don't rush him, though.
I'm not rushing him.
Let them be babies for a while.
And so many of my friends, like a couple of my friends, I'm in this crew where all of our kids were born and they're all 2.5. And so many of them are starting potty training like this weekend. And I was like, dude, I don't want to do it. I don't want to buy diapers anymore, but I also like potty training. I'm not going to say it's too early because their decision is their decision. But for me, it feels like for me too early means that I'm basically training myself more than I'm training him. And I'm just like adding all this additional stress to myself that I don't need. And even when you get them potty trained in those early years, there's no like, hold it because we're in the supermarket or hold it because we were in the supermarket near a bathroom and now we're walking to the car and now is when you want to use the bathroom. Like I am not ready yet to have to like drop everything I'm doing in the middle of whatever I'm doing.
And sprint from one side of Walmart to the other.
Yes. Or do like Carolyn does and have a potty in her trunk. She's like an actual potty.
I fucking love Carolyn. I swear to God.
We went out to the Christmas tree lighting one year, and I was like, what are you carrying? Like, why do you have so much stuff? She's like, oh, it's the potty. I was like, oh, my God, it's too much.
She took the potty with her.
To the Christmas tree lighting.
She's special.
But her kids, because she is girls. Yeah. So it's not like boys. When we were at a park fest or something, and Lincoln's like, I gotta pee. I was like, oh, let's go to that tree over there. Like we're in the woods anyway. She's got girls, and she's not trying to have them sit on public toilets or pee in the woods. So
even if she had access to a toilet, she still takes the potty?
Yeah.
God, she's special. I love you, Carolyn.
Amazing.
I really do.
She's like next level parent
momming. That's like,
and I love her. So, and speaking of her, it was speaking of her and Yash. I think I mentioned Yash earlier. It was Yash's birthday. Shout out to Yash. Happy birthday!
Shout out, happy birthday, baby girl.
We did a day spa. I guess it's called a spa at a salt cave.
You had a day with the girls.
Yeah, we had a day with the girls, but it was at a salt cave, and I've never been to a salt cave before.
They exist up here?
Yeah, we were in Woodbury. And so we went for 45 minutes.
Where's that?
In the valley. Like
Okay.
Seymour.
That's probably why
Oxford.
I don't know it.
I know, I didn't know it either. And so it's not actually a cave, like it's in a strip mall.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna be like,
yeah, no. It's in like one of those mall, like the Woodbury Commons or something, you know?
Gotcha.
And but when you go into the room where you're having the treatment, it does look like a cave because they've like decked out the walls and the floor has like large grain salt, kind of like sand at the beach.
Yeah.
And they have these zero gravity chairs that you sit in, you sort of relax. And I literally had no idea what was going to happen. And so the lady walked out of the room. I go, what's next? What happens? And she came back and she like banged a gong. I don't know if that's the way you say that, but there was a gong. And then there was a recorded meditation thing, like deep breaths, deep belly breaths to your spine or whatever. And when we were done, I said to the girls, I had a really hard time. I can see why you need to practice mindfulness and you need to go to these kinds of things and practice, because I had a really hard time turning off my mind. And before I could turn off my mind, it was all like crazy negative stuff. And so then I was trying to, at least if I can't quiet my brain, at least I can think about positive stuff. But I was having a difficult time. And they both turned to me and they were like, but you were snoring. And I was like, wait, what?
You were dreaming.
So I was dreaming. So I was sleeping, deep sleeping, snoring, but my brain was still wired. So I didn't feel rested when I came out. I did feel like I had gone through something, but I was saying to them,
you were going through something. She was going through it.
I was going through it.
You were having a whole Game of Thrones series up in your head. Can't with you. She was fighting the mountain. She was fighting all of them people.
That's basically what was happening. So I would love to do it again, basically because I think we got a deal. So it was $20. This place is called the Salt Cave Sanctuary, something like that in Woodbury. But they were running some kind of special, so it was $20 for 45 minutes. And if nothing else, to be sitting in a quiet room with some music, some oming music, and not having anybody ask me any questions, and not feeling guilty about not like doing a load of laundry or running the dishwasher or folding something or cleaning something, like that was absolutely worth the $20. So if you need a minute, like go to a salt cave or a yoga class or whatever.
And snore yourself into like a Game of Thrones series.
Like I paid for a nap and I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. So
that's cool. So I'm super excited because you did something new today.
What did I do? Oh,
you had a nice little intro thing that you tried today, and it was amazing.
Thank you very much.
And so we have
we have a guest.
We do.
Yeah. So let's transition to that because she is waiting in lay.
Patiently.
I don't even know what that. There's some like stage term, like waiting in lay.
She's in the green room.
She's in the green room.
Yeah.
So let's get into that. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So our guest today is an incredible woman, wife, and mother. Now, because I'm several years older than her, I'm using that loosely. We've never really crossed paths in person, even though we went to the same high school and college. Still, with her big, warm personality, I've always heard such wonderful things about her, and our families are actually loosely related, like many Ghanaian families are, through blood, marriage, or friendship. Through the magic of social media, she is someone that I've enjoyed getting to know, given our mutual love of trash on the internet. And lucky for her, that's actually a part of her job as a TV news producer at a major network. She has a name that evokes royalty and a face to match. Queenette, thank you so much for joining us on the show tonight.
Oh my God. I can't, what an introduction.
I can't with her, right?
You made me feel warm and fuzzy. I feel
that was the goal.
To take over the world after this. Thank you for that. And thank you for inviting me. I'm really excited.
Me too. Thank you so much for being here. I really, really am so glad to have you. So let's just jump right in because I want to make sure we have enough time. I feel like we were chatting before we went on air and I was like, no, we need all of this for the show. So feel free to repeat because they haven't heard it. The people haven't heard it. So let's just jump right in. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you and what you're doing? Like you, your family, what you do for a living.
Sure. Okay. So as you said, I'm a mother. I have a 3-year-old little girl named Aria. She is the center of my universe. I am married to her father. I don't know if that's good, right? Okay.
That's a good thing.
That's a good
If you
thing.
think it's good, we think it's good.
I think it's fantastic. I mean, I like the guy. I love the guy. He's cool. I am a television news producer at Tufts. I actually studied economics and American studies. And I thought I was going to be a titan of Wall Street.
Okay.
And worked at Citigroup. And it just didn't work out that way. I really, wanted to be in a job and in a field that I thought was really personable and creative. And so I am now, after it's been probably 7-8 years, I'm a television news producer at a network that I like. I love, in fact. At a very provocative.
It's okay to love it.
Yes, a very provocative cable news network is what I would call it.
Okay.
I probably have some other words for it, but I'm not here to mess up the money, okay? So I'm not going to do it.
I'm happy where I am.
I'm so glad you are.
And it's going to come up. We're speaking about it, in pronouns now, but we'll get into it.
We'll get into it later. Okay, so the thing that sparked this, the reach out to the conversation was that a couple weeks ago. So it's like you and a couple other people where not only are your posts super hilarious to me, but I like live for the comment section, right? So because in your post, like people say the most ridiculous things. So I just show up with my little popcorn and I'm just like, what is happening here? And then there was
Yep.
something in there. Somebody said something and you go, yeah, my daughter does that too. Oh, it was something about somebody's kid having like a pimped out kitchen, like a kid's kitchen with a laundry or something. And you were like, I don't even have, like, my daughter has a laundry and I don't even have laundry or something like that. And I was like, irks, like, daughter. And I wrote it so fast that it looked like a response to somebody. I was like, you have a daughter, and it responded to someone else in your comments. And he was like, who are you? And I was like,
the person was alarmed. Definitely alarmed.
I was like, why do you want to know about my child? I'm like, oh, my bad. I didn't mean it. But like
stalking over here.
But that was how shocked I was to find out that you had a child, and like not an infant baby, right? Like a 3-year-old child. And like, this was my thinking. Like, I see her on the internet, on social media every day, like 20 times a day. And I've never once, and I've seen your wedding photos. Like, I've seen photos of you, and I had and then, like a stalker, I went through all the pictures and I like scroll. And there was no baby. And I was like, I was like, research. So that was the impetus to asking you, like, so you have a kid? Like, what is this? And then I remember when you were telling me about why, which I want you to get into here, like why you decided not to have her on there. I just remember not feeling judged by you. Right? So what?
Thankfully so.
Well, because so many people are so judgy about the rest of us who are just like, oh, my son is the best. Right? Yeah. So anyway, I probably skipped ahead a little bit, but can you talk a little bit about why you decided not to have her on the internet and how you've been able to like get away with this for 3 years?
Get away. I know it feels.
Like, that's how it feels.
Feels criminal, right? Because everyone is always sharing their kid. But yeah, my daughter has a squeaky clean digital slate. Mm-hmm. She has no digital footprint. And this was a very conscious decision for both my husband and I. One of the main reasons being, well, several reasons. And as the years went by, I found more and more reasons as to why I shouldn't really post about her. So one of the reasons was that, social media is just a really, really crazy place. And I feel like it's almost like a rabbit hole, and it can almost be an addiction, right? I mean, people start being addicted to likes. That's the main thing. Because I actually do not have Twitter. I don't have a personal Twitter, and I don't have an Instagram at all for these very reasons. I did not want to get roped in and addicted to looking for approval, from people on the internet. And I felt like if I posted one picture of her, I wouldn't be able to stop myself.
It. Yeah.
And if someone didn't like it, I'd be like, well, that didn't like her. What is she trying to call my daughter ugly? I mean?
And you just liked it. What about the love? You could have used love.
Right? Like, what do you mean like? I mean, that's just so lowbrow. What are you trying to say about my baby? I didn't want to get into that.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get into it. I didn't want to get addicted to the likes. I also, and I'm so happy that you talked about the things that I post, right? Because every day, even in being a TV news producer, and then it spills over into what I post on Facebook, you're always looking for crazy, outrageous, really interesting stories, great talkers, things that people read and they go, oh my God, what?
Yeah.
And then the comments start rolling in, and I'm, sometimes I try very hard to stay out of it, but sometimes I'm like, well, you're dead wrong. And you're wrong, for this, that, and the third reason. Having a social media sans my daughter, and I don't post a lot about my husband either, reminds me that I'm a person outside of my role as a mother. When you're a mom, you're a mom. It becomes your first identity, almost your main identity. It completely consumes you because, you're doing everything with and for these children. And so when I post on Facebook and we're laughing and I'm arguing with people and I'm posting crazy stories, it reminds me that I have a community, of just people, of just friends, that I'm not, that my only friends aren't moms, and that I am a person too, that I have an identity, that I can, argue with people on the internet and laugh and cry and post crazy things and not sort of have the image of my daughter sort of tainted by some of those exchanges and some of those crazy things that I post. But really, it reminds me that I'm a person outside of a mother, you know,
incredible.
that it's not my only role. And so it became important for me personally to keep her off social media, wanting to give her privacy. We all know, you hear all the time about your digital footprint. You know, I mean, it's like nothing is private anymore.
That's right.
I mean, there are people you can Google and literally get their phone numbers right now, and you don't have to pay for it. You don't have to do a background check. You can Google someone's name, and as long as they've signed up for, you know, that Bloomingdale's discount card, or, you know, they signed up at Banana Republic or something like that.
Or have an open Facebook.
Exactly.
If you have an open Facebook, all your information, phone number, birth date, everything is there.
Isn't that crazy? And you have to opt out of it most of the time.
And
you know,
take all that information, put two and two together, go to town hall, pull a couple of records, and before you know it, they're you.
Exactly. I mean, there's like little to no privacy. And I did not want to bring my daughter into that before she could, you know, consent to it to herself, you know, before she could say, yeah, I want my photos on the internet, or, yeah, you know, share that photo. That's okay. You know, I'm going to protect her privacy for as long as I can. And yeah, it was a task for me at first. Right? Because you see every other mother sharing so many photos, and everyone's child is so cute. And you're like, well, I got a cutie patootie too.
Right.
Let me show you. You know, you really want to.
And you probably think about validation, right? Like,
exactly.
You know, the addiction and the piece about it that gets like deep into your psyche. Do I not love my kid as much as these people do who talk about how great they are? And like, even I just did a birthday post for Lincoln, or I guess for Lincoln. And I was thinking very much, I was like, I want to say something nice about him, but I don't want to do a fucking soliloquy that I see sometimes. It's like, you got to scroll to read the whole thing. I'm like, listen, just tell me that they're cool and they're cute. Like, I believe you.
Exactly. You know,
but then I was thinking, like, it can't be too short, because then
people think I'm slacking. Slacking on my Mackin'. I'm slacking, you know, on my mommyhood.
Right.
So yeah, I'm not hiding her. That's another thing. I never wanted people to think that I was hiding her, because that was never the case. I mean, she is, of course, to her mother, to me, she's perfection. You know, I don't want to hide that. But at the same time, you know, I don't really, you know, the internet's such a judgy place. I don't want people judging her, and, you know, I don't want sort of some of the negative energy that you can get from social media. I just didn't want that. So I wanted to keep her separate and not equal, right? Because she's number one.
Right.
Well, I mean, I think also, too, that in doing so, I mean, you're exposing your child to the people who really matter. The people that are in her life every day, the people that love her physically, that can love her while she's so there in presence, in her presence, that can show her something valuable, right?
Exactly.
Not that, you know, there's no value in being able to share in social media, because I think that there's a lot of good in social media, but there's also a lot more bad.
Oh, a ton.
But that decision in itself, I mean, you're just protecting your child from being exposed to people that you don't interact with on a daily basis.
Exactly.
You know, these people don't walk into your home.
We have phones, right? All my aunts and my uncles and her cousins, they all have the cute videos and the pictures and the bathtub photos. They have all that stuff. And those are the people, as you said, who know her, who love her, who really, really care.
Deserve,
you know, this isn't just about getting the tea and I know what Queenette's daughter looks like. And no. You know,
I actually had to check myself when my first reaction was, how come I didn't know? And I was like, well, I haven't even seen Queenette in 20 years. Like, why would I know about her baby? You know, but taking that moment to check myself and realize that it was like, I'm not owed any of that.
Sure.
But she still went through all your pictures.
I did. I went looking.
I go through other people's pictures. People, you're in a relationship. Oh, you in a relationship? Let me see how this relationship. You know,
how's it going?
Pictures. People, I don't know. I saw that girl on the train back in '94, but I need to know what her man looks like. I need to know what her man's ex-girl looks like and his barber third removed. It's like, no, I don't. But it's a rabbit hole. It's like you almost can't help yourself. You just get roped in.
Yep.
I go through people's picture reels, and I'm like, all right, so this is your man. Wait. That's not the same guy.
That's not the same guy.
Photos.
Oh, this is 3 years ago. This is 3 years ago. And then you keep scrolling up. That was the one that you're with now.
Oh my God.
Right?
Who's
Who's this new guy? Damn, did he dump you? What happened?
Oh my God.
The speculation will kill you.
Right. And then the other thing I didn't mean to jump ahead, but the thing that really, really spoke to me is when we were talking about this, because I do put my kids all over everything and I do talk about them. They're like a whole part of my show. Yeah. I didn't feel judged by you. And can you talk a little bit about how you make sure that when you're like that you've made this decision separate from other people and not intending to judge other people, because some of us are out here, one, happy to share, and then in some other cases, like, how do you feel about people who are making a living or doing a thing that really their kids are a part of, but I guess are a part of, but not consenting, aren't old enough to consent to. Do you have thoughts on that?
The thing. I don't judge, because in not sharing her, sometimes I feel like I'm missing out on it takes a village aspect of social media. Mm-hmm. When you post things about your kids, other moms start commenting and they start giving you, their stories and giving you advice and things like that. And it's a shared motherhood is so powerful and it's so magical and it's just wonderful. When you're in that community, it feels really, I can imagine, it feels really, really, really great. And so I don't begrudge people for sharing their kids, because they get that village, of the people who care, or other mothers who just, they just share your experience and they know how it's crazy and the ups and downs. And, your kid's 3 and their kid's 4 and they're like, yeah, wait till 4, man. Right. That's when it's going to get dicey. It's fun. So I have no problem with that. And then if your kids are a part, of your business, it's fine. I mean,
it's for the family.
Look at Honey Boo Boo.
Oh Lord, let's not look at Honey Boo Boo.
I mean, I'm using her as an excuse to, not so much an excuse, but just as an example of how a parent could put their child out there, and now Mama June is like what? She's a new woman. Yeah, right? She is completely new from top to bottom, and she did that at the expense of putting her daughter on TV and putting her entire life out there.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I mean, the flip side of that is the Kardashians, right? Because Kris Jenner did the same thing.
Yes.
And I mean, they're multi-millionaires and they're a whole,
exactly.
They're a mafia as far as I'm concerned. Okay.
I'm sorry.
But
I don't.
But there's the other side. I feel like they're the dark side.
They can be. And yeah, exactly. Honey Boo Boo probably maybe, I don't know. It depends on how you feel. Some people might think she's closer to the dark side too.
Yeah.
But as long as you're not harming your children, I don't really see why not.
It's helping
made
us
it a
all
family
eat.
business, the Partridge Family, the Jacksons. I mean,
Yeah.
a family business is not a new concept. So I think it's completely fine as long as your kids are still well taken care of, financially, of course, and then emotionally as well.
Yeah, that's so real. So do you have any advice for people who are maybe their kids are little and they're thinking about like how they can keep their kids off of social media or protect their kids from social media, or people who have already put them on social media and maybe are rethinking that choice now? What is your advice to people at either of those stages?
Sure. Well, if your kids are already there, of course you can stop cold turkey. But the thing is, the internet is forever, right? And so if you put your kids there before, that content lives there. And so it'll be very difficult for you to pull back, but you can, right? You can stop the content right there. And if you so feel passionate about it, you should. I feel very passionate about keeping her off the internet.
Yeah.
It has to be something you want to do as a mother. I'm thinking, for me, there were so many reasons why I shouldn't post her. It's now become very easy. It's almost instinct for me. I have to protect that part of my life. So if you want to do it, it may be hard just because everyone else, or a lot of people rather, they do it so much all the time. I mean, you scroll through these different feeds. I mean, there are kids who have their own Instagrams and Twitters.
I know a lot of infants who have their own, infants have their own Instagram.
My dogs have their own Facebook pages.
I mean, these Twitter, they make money, right? There are ads and whatnot. So I'm not hating on that at all. But if you want to keep your child off social media, then do it. It's just not, I don't think it's hard.
Yeah.
So
can you go back and, like, I don't even know if I had a bunch of pictures on Facebook, if I just delete them from Facebook, they're not gone?
No, they still,
they're like on the Facebook server.
Well, even with Facebook, when you delete your account, they don't delete your account. I believe that you delete it, and if you come back, let's say in a month, 2 months, 3 months, they've saved everything there for you.
Yeah.
And you
just in case,
right where you started.
So if you're interested in doing this, it's more like make a decision, and then from now you don't put anything more.
It's a decision that you need to make when that baby's in the womb, because everything changes when you actually give birth to that child.
Yeah.
Everything changes. So you make that decision and then you stick to it. Mm-hmm. I'm also married to someone who's really private. And so it wasn't hard, because I knew that I had his support in not, putting her on social media.
So did you think this at when you were pregnant? Like, you were thinking about this while you were pregnant?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was thinking about it while she was kicking, while I was, dragging my big butt around IKEA. I was like, this.
Because I didn't even see any pictures of you pregnant. I was looking for that too. I swear to God, I was like, can I was looking.
Also about that. So even in the state, right, pregnancy, one of the reasons I didn't, even before I thought about when this baby comes out, I'm not going to put her anywhere. I thought about sharing pregnancy photos. It's really happy. It's really joyous. But there's so many people out there who are not blessed with children, who are struggling through infertility. Mm-hmm. And I thought about those people too. A small part of me said, you know what? And let me safely get through my pregnancy. Mm-hmm. Anything can happen. My main concern at that point was having a healthy child, having a safe delivery. And so posting pictures of baby bumps just didn't occur to me. Yeah. At the same time, I was like, there may be people out there who are struggling with infertility. I don't want to rub it in their face.
Yeah.
To get a little personal, when I had her, she didn't latch, in terms of breastfeeding in the hospital, right? I had to get like a coach to help her. Mm-hmm. And that was really personal and a little painful for me, right? Because everyone goes, well, you're a mom, you got the boobs, it just happens. It's not really, it's not easy for everyone.
No.
It doesn't come, quickly to everyone. There are babies who do not latch.
Yeah.
And so during that time, I would scroll and I'd see, all these things about breastfeeding and breast is best and do this, that, and the third. And it would make me feel bad.
Yeah.
Because at the time, she wasn't latching. And so I had to get a lactation coach. Mm-hmm. And she did at some point, she did eventually. And it was great. And it was a wonderful experience. But that small period of time when she wasn't, and you're scrolling through Facebook and all these people are talking about breastfeeding, it makes you feel bad.
Yeah.
It makes you feel like less of a woman, less of a mother.
Right. I should know how to do this.
Exactly. Oh, she did it. What's wrong with me?
Right.
I looked at mine. My boobs look quite all right. What's going on with these things?
My mom. I had to go to a lactation consultant too, not an individual one. I went to a group where she was helping a lot of people. And before I did that, my mom was like, oh, it's supposed to hurt. What we do is that we scratch. So I was like in tears while I was trying to do it how I thought it was supposed to happen. And I wasn't doing it properly. So it was super painful. And she goes, that's okay. You just like bear through it. And then she started using her nails and scratching my arm. She's like, this is how we redirect the pain from the nipple to your arm so you can get through it. And I was crying, the baby was crying, she was crying, we were all crying.
It's emotional stuff.
It was emotional. And then I got to the lactation consultant and she was like, if it hurts, it's not right. You're supposed to stop and do it again. And I was like, that's not what my mom said. She was scratching my arm.
Your mom's going to pull the epidermis layer of your skin off.
And this other woman I read about, she was like, oh, in the Ukraine, we get ready by, she takes an old hard bristle brush and they just like rake. But
yeah, you see, I'm not down with all that.
But I say that to say, like, on the flip side of what you're saying, or I guess in related to the community and the village, and why I find so much comfort in sharing and being a part of that online village, is that you find out that it doesn't have to be that way. And if you weren't a part of that, if you didn't expose yourself, like risk exposure, you wouldn't learn that. And instead you'd be in your house with an old fucking toothbrush raking at your nipples. Like
raking the nips.
Right?
Raking the nips. Nipping and tucking.
Yeah.
Raking and scraping. You're
so
right.
Do you find that somewhere else? Are you able to find your community offline? Because like I enjoy finding like a worldwide, but are you able to find your local community, your friends, your people, so that you still have that?
I have a really big family, you know, so a really big and very involved family, and we all like live near each other. So that certainly helped. My older sister, my mom, I mean, they're the wind beneath my wings. I mean, I couldn't do it without them.
Yep.
In every sense of the word. And then, you know, I follow the mommy blogs, and, you know, I read things all the time. So I don't have necessarily the online, I'm not active in the online community, but I'm reading and I'm watching, I'm going through the comments. You post things, I'm looking, I'm like, who said happy birthday to who?
Right.
Who's good? You know, I'm there, what's going on? I'm there, you know, I'm engaged while I don't really engage. Right. I don't
it's like one-sided.
Yeah, but I'm there.
You're
and I'm
a voyeur. Yeah. I love it. Okay, well, I love that. So let's pivot a little bit. So we were talking earlier about the work that you do and your work in media. Can we talk a little bit about your role and where you work and what you do for work?
Yes,
which is why I'm always watching you on, you know, these like I'm trying to figure out where these stories of, I can't even remember what you posted today, but like where these random ass stories, like where they go, because I know they're for work.
Yeah, I mean, some of them don't go anywhere, and that's why
that's
Facebook
good.
is my space.
That's good.
They're so crazy and they're so nutty. Or they're so sort of alarming. You got to clutch your pearls when you read it because it's so crazy.
Yep.
But I am a producer at Fox News, and I've been there for upwards of 8 years.
Wow.
And, you know, it's my job. I love the news. I am, I've been there for a long time. I'm not being held hostage. You know, I've been afforded.
You see how important that you see our face. We're like,
honey, I'm not only clutching my pearls right now, I'm clutching the clams that came in that pearl.
I'm concerned.
Just
blink twice if you're okay. Blink twice if you need help.
Exactly. That's not the case at all. I'm actually like really happy being
so
there.
It's like
I've been afforded a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
It's like the Stepford Wives of Fox.
Stop it. Okay, so I want to hear, because I told you in the prep that we did for this conversation, I was like, I can't even help my bias, right? Like I'm just going to say out loud, like I have a bias against Fox News because I feel like Fox News has a bias against me. But I look at you, right? And you look like me, and you've been there for 8 years and you're flourishing, and I want to know what's going on, because I'm not going to go there and I'm not going to start watching them, but I want to know. So like, tell me.
Well, I mean, that's the key. What you said, that was the phrase that pays. I'm flourishing. In my career, I've done a lot and I've learned a lot, and I love the news. And regardless of where I was working, I was always going to be a proponent of freedom of expression. And so I've been there for a long time, and I watch all the news networks all the time. But I know personally that we put in the work, you know, and we do the research. And there's opinion programming, just like there's opinion programming everywhere. And we report the news, just like everyone else. And so I think people should make sure that they watch all of the networks all the time. Of course, you know, this is about the home team. So you say you don't want to watch. I think you should. I think you should give it a try. But I work there because I enjoy working there. I've been treated very well while I've been there. And I've always felt mobile in my career. And not a lot of people can say that. Not everyone can say that. You know, people work places and they feel very stuck. And I've never felt that way. I've never felt stuck. I've always been able to pivot in my career. I've always been able to talk to my superiors and say, listen, I'm very interested in this aspect of journalism or producing. I'd like to do this more. And I've gotten those opportunities.
That's great.
And so with that said, you know, I'm, you know, pretty much a happy camper.
That's great.
And I want people to watch everything.
Yeah.
You know, I know
watch
you may,
news.
You know, watch everyone.
Yeah.
Watch everyone. You should watch everyone. You know, I like where I work because I've been treated very well. Because I stand behind the research that goes into the news that we report. You know, I know that you see that I'm reading and I'm everywhere.
Yeah.
You look at my feed, you know that I'm posting stories from literally every single, you know, website from different, you know, from every network, because I'm just a lover of news. In general. And I curate is what I do. On Facebook. I really do curate. Then in terms of my job, yes, I've been treating really well, and I've been able to advance in my career, and that's my main concern.
Yeah, and it should be. Now, to be fair, you've been there for 8 years. I can't say that 8 years ago I was watching the news as much as I am now, or 8 years ago, I didn't have the same kind of feelings I have now. And also 8 years ago was a different time, right? We were in Obama, we're like deep in Obama. Like it was a different time. So what I'm interested about is how you, and again, you're a couple years younger than me. How did you, when you were looking for, you're like fresh out of school and you're like, fuck Citigroup, it's not working out here. Like, where am I going to go next? How did you decide to look at Fox and what got you interested? So you're happy now, but what drew you into Fox when you were looking for work then?
Well, I mean, I was just interested in the news, to be honest. You know, I was just really interested in the news. And I love to be, I love the idea of being able to do the research and draw my own conclusions, right? I mean, at some point in my life, I was a passive news watcher. It's like you watch maybe the local news, you know, maybe you don't watch cable news as much. And you watch it and it's easily digestible and it's funny and, you know, you move on.
Yeah.
But at some point in my life, I started getting more interested in the news. I wanted to do more of a deep dive. And that's when I knew I wanted to be in journalism. And I was afforded that opportunity at Fox.
Yeah. You know, and can you talk a little bit about the apprenticeship that you did? Because I thought, again, I have like a lot of bias against Fox, but I had no idea that they had this, more, I don't like the term minority, but this like people of color focused apprenticeship that ends in a job if you do well. Right. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So the apprentice program, and that was, yes, it's called the apprentice program, is basically they would select, and I actually already worked there when I started the program, but they select 4 people from around the company who are young and hungry, people who want to really learn the ins and outs of the company. And so you don't have to be a news producer. You could want to be a cameraman or a tech operator or a prompter operator or a reporter. Just people who wanted to get deeper into their roles at Fox and maybe learn other things, you know, because it's not easy. It's actually a difficult world to navigate because there's so many different things you can do. And especially when you're young, you may not be sure. You know, it's not a very common job. A lot of people don't know much about TV news production, what really goes into it. And so when you don't know, you know, and without this program, it'd be very difficult for me to find out, you know? And so what the program does is it helps sort of usher you. It's quick, but they sort of usher you through the company and help you figure out what you really want to do there. But of course you have to show the drive, you have to show the interest. And once you do that, they will help you through your career. They will help you in your career trajectory, get from where you are at the company at that moment to where you want to be, right? Because there are steps. So they'll help take you through that steps. They'll introduce you to Different executives at the company, as well as other newsmakers. I mean, congressmen. You'll meet anchors, reporters. You'll meet everyone so that you can figure out where you want to be, and then they'll help you get there.
That's great.
So that's really
and is the program still like, are they still taking fresh people?
The program is actually being relaunched. Right now, it was upgraded. It's now new and improved, and it'll be starting up soon. But It's a really, really fantastic opportunity for young journalists or just people who want to get into television news production.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. And my fan thing is, I guess fan thing is not the right word, but I just saw a bunch of stuff about Harris Faulkner. Do you know Harris Faulkner? Have you ever gotten to work with her?
Yes, I do. I know, Fox. I've been there for a long time, so it's really a community. We all know each other.
Yep.
I'm also, like a nice person.
Right.
Right. Maybe if I was mean, I wouldn't know as many people, but I know a lot of people there. It is my own village, honestly. And so, yes, I do know Harris, and she's lovely.
She's lovely.
Nice.
She seems lovely, and I think it's just a precarious position to be in. Like, everybody wants something from you and is looking for you to say one thing, and you can't win no matter what you say. So
sure. Exactly. I mean, right now the world of politics is so partisan. It's like split down the middle.
Yeah.
Actually, my favorite part about my job, because things are crazy. People on this side, people on that side, and every day you go to work and you need to make your case, right? Or you need to at least do a ton of research, and I love research. Do a lot of research, and you present the facts, and you go, when you're a producer, you produce for an anchor or reporter. You say, here are the facts, and you take that and you draw your conclusion, and you go out there and you report it. Okay. Especially when you're in opinion programming, which
is what you do.
Yes, I work on a show that primarily is opinion, but during the day is news, and so that's just about getting the facts right and getting them fast. When stories are breaking, the big thing is who gets it on air first. Who breaks the story first. Like, let's say when the Mueller report was released, that was a big thing that happened at 5:00, and it was like, who was it going to be? CBS? Was it going to be CNN? Was it going to be Fox? Was it going to be, who was going to get that story up first?
Yeah.
It's like a great race.
Who did get it?
Fox.
Oh, of course, because Queenette is there.
Yes, no. We got it up first. We said it first. Our banner went up first. But that sort of stuff. So it's really, your adrenaline is pumping. Like, it's actually really exciting.
Wow.
But besides that, it's a lot of research, and you draw your own conclusions. And when you work there, nothing at the door, there's nothing in your job application that says, well, you must think you need to be a part of this party. You have to be a Republican. You have to be a Democrat. There's nothing like that there.
Okay.
So everyone there behind the scenes, we're just people. They're Republicans, Democrats, moderates. There's everyone. But when you have a job, you have to be objective.
Right.
The anchors and reporters, they do what they want. They draw their own conclusions depending on the show. Exactly.
Right.
They draw, they have their own.
That's not what I said. That's not what I sent you.
So that's what I was going to ask you. So,
and then it's an opinion, and that's fine.
So you're producing a show. You're actually getting all the facts, and you're putting it in a format for them to go and draw their own conclusions from those facts.
For the opinion programming, yes.
Yeah.
Like we all do in our lives. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So has there ever been a point in time, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but has there ever been a point in time where you were fact-checking a story or finding the facts, and you get all your facts, and the story's very shocking to begin with, you pass that along, and what you get at the end is something completely different than where you saw it was going, and you were just like, oh, no.
That's not what I said.
Thing. I never see where it's going. I'm never sure. I know how I feel about stories, but I never know what, someone's going to take from that, because we're all from such different walks of life, so I don't know what people are going to take. But I really pride myself on making sure that what I'm presenting are nothing but the facts. There's no injection of my own ideas in there. what I present to my anchor or to the reporter is, widely accepted fact. It's been, confirmed. The fact checkers say it's okay. And then you take it from there. But I'm not a robot. It's like I have my own ideas. I don't always agree with everything that I see on TV or even agree with my mom all the time. And, I in my mind, I'm always right.
Right.
I'm right. And everyone's wrong.
I love it. Well, I think it's incredible. And it's, again, I'll say right now I have feelings about Fox, but I didn't always have these. I didn't know anything about Fox 10 years ago, or like didn't care anything about it. And so it's an interesting place to be. And, sure. And some of us have to be there. Some of us have to be there watching from the inside and sharing the information and presenting and being able to talk with information, or like with knowledge about what's happening on all the different sides. So I totally commend you for being being awesome at your job and being able to be in a place where people, I'm sure on face value, are like, what the hell are you doing? And you're like, let me tell you about why I like my job, why I like where I am. Like, I think that's so boss and so fantastic.
Yeah, I really have no qualms, about working there or explaining to people why I do. I mean, I love the place. I know for a fact that we report, when we're reporting, we report the news. This is what people are talking about. And I do, though, always tell people that they should watch every network.
Yeah.
Watch everyone. Of course, I think Fox is the best.
Right.
Because it is.
So do they.
People should watch every network. You shouldn't just watch the shows or the people that you agree with.
Yeah.
You should challenge yourself to watch other networks and other programs and do the deep dive when you're so inspired to.
Yeah, my husband calls it verbal jousting. He likes to verbally joust.
Yeah, you gotta watch it all. You gotta watch it all.
She doesn't work for your network, so I can ask you, what are your thoughts on Rachel Maddow?
I think she's great. I think that Rachel Maddow is really, really good at her job. I have a lot of respect for her. I do, I watch all the programs, and I have a lot of respect for journalists in general.
Yeah.
Because they themselves and then their teams really work tirelessly to get these stories out there, and to make the case. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when people aren't really into news, you don't have to be a politico, but you have to know what's going on in the world, because it really affects you, and it affects your family. It affects what's going on with your health care. It affects your paycheck. I mean, you need to know these things. And so any journalist who goes out there and really makes the case and gives it 150%, they're pulling examples from this administration and that administration, regardless of your network, I absolutely salute you.
Yeah.
And Rachel Maddow is among the greats, among many really fantastic journalists who do that. So, I like them all.
Okay, can we pivot to that time when Drake was at Tufts and you met Drake? Can we just
He's my person.
Are you salty about it or something?
No, I want to hear about it. No, well, I wanted to get away from the news talk because, I don't even like the news to begin with.
I was there, and I didn't get to meet Drake, but you did.
I mean, I was.
She sounded kind of salty there for a minute.
Just a little bit.
Just a little.
So, there was that time that he came to Spring Fling. Is that what it's called? I don't even remember. I haven't been in so many years.
Spring Fling,
Spring Fling at Tufts, and I had already graduated, but I think you were still there.
I was.
And he was just blowing up, and it was a big deal because we were like, "Oh my God, Drake is coming to Tufts," and we came back for it.
It was insane.
Oh my God! So can you? I mean, I know it's a long time ago, but can you tell me a little bit about it?
I mean, I know this is such a random question. Yeah, he came. It was amazing. We all couldn't believe it, right? Because you sort of back, you're like, oh, who are we gonna get? Some random nobody.
Although, to be fair, Tufts does a good job of getting some nice people, some great people for Spring Fling.
Exactly. So, I mean, but he at the time was huge. And so huge. He came, and I remember being so excited because I couldn't believe we were about to meet Drake. And he performed, and I went up on the stage, and I wasn't shaking what my mama gave me. It was nothing like that.
Uh-huh.
Did a little 2-step.
Right.
And that, was the highlight of my college career.
I love it.
It was one of the few weekends I stayed.
Right. I love it.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah. And it kind of made me be like, damn, did I miss anything? Has Drake been here before? Have you guys had anyone else here that I missed? And I hadn't. I hadn't missed anyone.
No, you hadn't missed anything. Well, we were talking about that. That was just like I knew that story. I just wanted to share that because, like, why not? But we were talking before off air about being a New Yorker and being in Boston area at Tufts, and how I think for me, I had left because I went to boarding school, right? I'd left New York so early that I still identify as a New Yorker, but I've never been an adult in New York, right?
Sure.
And so when I was in college, I didn't feel the need to go home every week, but I know New Yorkers who were in my class and the classes around me who they were just like, I'm from New York. I don't have time for this shit. Like, it's not, I don't even want to learn about the tea. I don't care where it goes. Like, what kind of name is the tea anyway? Like, that's not a real subway. It's on the street. Like, what is happening here? And they just refuse to assimilate or like even try to be a part of this place. Because they're just like, I'm just here for the years that I'm here and then I'm out. Peace.
Where in Massachusetts is Tufts? So
Tufts is in Medford, which is like 20 minutes past, like further than Boston. So you like get to Boston and then north of Boston is where Tufts is. It's still on the T. It's not like in the boondocks anywhere. It's at the end of the red line, or like almost at the end of the red line. But I remember, and I don't know, like, tell me how you feel about this. I just always felt if you didn't have a really strong connection to wherever it was you were from, it was really easy to get sucked into Boston, and you're like, oh, this is my new place. Like, this is where I am. But if you're from a place like New York, where you have a solid fucking identity, right? Exactly. You're like, I'm here for the classes, and on Friday, I'm going home. I will see you Sunday night. So can you tell us a little bit about what you're, because I know which camp you were in, but tell us which camp you were in.
I'm definitely in like the city slicker, like a New York City slicker. I love it. A big part of my love for New York, though, is my family, so if my mom and my brother and my dad and my sister, if they were in, Zimbabwe, I'd be chartering a flight, I would go wherever they were, essentially.
Yeah.
But I love New York. I love the grittiness. I love how tough you have to be in New York. I just enjoy that. It's hard to explain.
Yeah.
I think, but it's tough. It's gritty. And all of us New Yorkers like people from Boston, because Boston, Boston folks, when it comes to the Red Sox and the Patriots.
Yeah, it's a different kind of.
They seem hardcore.
They're like crazy.
But they can't survive in Manhattan, though. I don't get that.
They can't.
Throw them in Manhattan, though.
It's not the same.
I call them passionate. I call them crazy. I call them passionate. We have that same passion in New York. Yeah. And so I love it. And then when you know a place, so I went to boarding school as well, but I just feel like I know New York. I feel like it's very easy to navigate for me. And so I just, gravitate towards what I know. And so what I loved about Medford, Somerville, that whole area is that's a collegiate town, So MIT, Harvard, Northeastern, BU, BC, Tufts, we were all there.
Yeah.
Which meant that, and I don't really drink, and I really didn't drink. Like, there was no wine, there was anything like that for me in college. So bar hopping was like not something that attracted me to the town. But what I did love was the networking. Yeah. I love the networking. I love being able to go see, like great speakers at MIT or Harvard. I went to parties on other campuses, and you just meet so many different people from different schools. I love that. Mm-hmm. I really, really love that about Boston. But, it wasn't enough for me to stick it out there.
Yeah.
Too many curved streets.
I know. I know.
Where's the shopping? What is it called?
Newbury Street.
Yes.
Newbury Street.
Slamming.
Yeah.
Slamming. I liked it.
Right?
But not enough.
Right. Yeah. No, I only stayed because I met James there and he was there, and so I stayed. But But I also feel like I'm a New Yorker, but like a adjacent New Yorker, and I also feel like I'm a little bit of a chameleon, and I just like blend in wherever I am. So
Okay. Yep.
I was able to stay there, but I also felt after 10 years, I was like, listen, I've done my bid. I'm done.
I've done my bid.
Like I'm
She's
done.
a Connecticut
I gotta get out
now.
of here.
She's a
There's
Connecticut
a coolness about New York. You know, there's sort of like a coolness, a hipness about New York that people from across the country and even the world notice,
right,
and almost covet.
Yeah,
you know, there's a reason why
hate on us a little bit. They're
New
jealous
York.
a little bit. Yeah,
exactly why we have so many tourists. I think it's an easy place to fall in love with.
Yeah. And people, you fall in love with the people.
Exactly.
Look at her. She is
New Yorkers
gloating.
are one of a kind.
She's glowing. Okay,
she is gloating and glowing as she's saying.
You got me talking about my city, like, you know, New York. It's like, come on.
I love it.
It's a fantastic place.
Well, Queenette, you have been a joy. It has been
Absolutely.
wonderful to spend this time talking to you. And I feel like we got through a lot in 30 minutes.
We did.
I'm loving it.
I can't believe it's only been 30 minutes. Well,
maybe a little longer, but you know, New Yorker time.
New York, yes, New York time. We are New York minute.
A New York minute, yes. A lot can happen in a New York minute. So, Queenette, thank you. You've been wonderful. I feel like I've learned a lot. I still am probably not going to watch Fox News, but I appreciate that you
give it a try.
I appreciate that you're there and told me about it.
Well, I think it opens up an opportunity.
Give it a try.
No, I will. I'll try. I might watch a clip or two.
Watch it. Start there. Start. You know,
I might watch Harris. Okay, I'll commit to watching Harris. Is where I will end this committing to watch Harris.
You can take baby steps, but get into
steps.
it.
Yeah.
Here's what I can commit to you. I can say that I will watch the news, right? The local, maybe local news, because that's based on fact.
Yeah.
And not so much. Wait.
Boy, here we go.
Wait,
you see, it's so hard.
And not so much the opinion shows that you guys tend to have, because
I mean, everyone has opinion shows. I just don't like their opinions.
My point.
The question is whether you agree with those opinions.
Right.
Well, here's the thing. I find comfort in knowing that when they get information, is delivered to them
it's coming
in
from
one way,
Queenette.
and it's coming from you, and they decide what they want, how they want to spin it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
You decide what you take from it.
Yes.
You know, you and I can get the same set of facts, and I see it in a completely different way.
Yes.
You know, than you do. Okay.
So I will commit to watching local news, but I'm not so sure about the opinion shows yet.
Right.
But listen, you opened up my eyes to a different world that I didn't know existed. You know, I didn't know, and I'm sorry that this may piss somebody off, but I didn't know Black people worked at Fox.
I mean, I just learned about Harris Fox. I'm saying her name like she and I are buzzed, but I like literally just learned about her a couple months ago.
Fantastic.
I've always looked at Fox like Breitbart. You know, it's just like
it's hard. It's
hard.
hard.
Is its own entity.
Yes, it's separate.
Yes,
mostly.
No.
It's mostly
but
separate.
I appreciate the fact that, you know, they've been wonderful to you, and they have allowed you to flourish and become.
And they have this program, right?
And
like,
program, of course.
Yes,
I love it.
Yes,
I love it.
Yes.
Well, Queenette, thank you so much for touching on all these different topics and spending this time for me. I know that we didn't get to say this, so you're hiding out at your sister's house because, as moms all know, as soon as you are around, there's no like, oh, I have a call and I can't talk to you.
And no, I would be building right now, or watching Barbie Dream House, or watching Elena of Avalor. I mean, I'd be knee deep in something on
crazy.
Disney Junior. Yeah,
right now. I love it.
If I didn't run away.
Yeah.
Not that I don't love my princess, but you know, mommy needs her time too.
I know.
And I love the name, by the way, Aria.
Aria is a good name. It is a
good
name. And she's only 3. Were you inspired by Game of Thrones?
Yes.
Oh, good.
I wanted to ask the question, but
I love that honesty.
Game of Thrones fan. And the name showed up in the name book.
And is it Arya like Arya? I love it.
I didn't spell it with a Y. I spell it with an I.
Mm-hmm.
But when it in the name book, it had a Y, and I was like, Arya Stark. I love Arya Stark. I could name her Daenerys, but Sansa, no. I'm gonna go with Arya because I just like the way it sounded.
It's
Khaleesi. I don't know.
Perfect.
I know. I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan. Huge.
I can't wait. It's coming up soon, right?
Very, very quickly. 15 days.
How many times am I going to say thank you?
Good
night?
We're almost there.
Almost there. Are you excited?
I'm
excited?
Am I? Words can't express.
You have.
I have trouble sticking to shows.
Yeah.
You know, like I watch the news all day, and so when I get home, I want to watch something else, obviously. But I have a very hard time committing to shows. I start watching, and I'm like, oh, this isn't half bad.
Right.
And then a week later, I'm like, what have I missed? And then 2 seasons later, I'm like, too late. I'm not watching 2 seasons. Forget it.
Yeah.
It's done. Next.
Yeah.
But Game of Thrones, I actually committed to, and I absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it. At Fox, we have a whole fan club where we meet and we discuss the episodes every Monday.
Have you read the books?
No, I have not.
No,
I know. I said that so emphatically, like it's a good thing.
Right? No.
I wish I had, but no, I have yet to read the books, and I'm worried because people say that that it'll spoil it for me, that they're not as good as the series.
Well, not necessarily. The books are amazing. One,
yeah,
it is a completely different story in many aspects. The
Sure.
book, because a lot had to get cut down for production reasons.
of course.
How I will say this though, after season 5, when Jon
Mhm.
Snow dies and he comes back to life in the
Yes.
3rd episode of season 5, I believe.
Yeah.
From that point forward, we don't know what the actual author is going to do with the story because he hasn't written that book yet. HBO is making it up now from that point forward.
That's
So now we're in the same boat.
Yeah. So
readers and the non-readers,
You don't need the
we
book.
unite. We're both we are both in the dark.
I love
I
it.
love it.
so now I'm waiting for the book because I want to know what ending, J.J.R. Martin is going to give the characters versus what the show is going to do. But
Yeah.
I'm excited because there's also a spinoff coming.
But so, real quick, can I still read the books even after this show ends? Like, will it be worth my time? Will I still enjoy it?
I think you will.
There's probably a lot in the books that
there's a lot in the books.
There's a lot in the
not.
books that
Okay.
was not in the show.
Like
because
I'll
they
tell
cut
you this little piece, for example.
Lord have mercy. This is not a.
Normally
Game of Thrones
I'm yelling
fan
at her.
show? Let's
This
turn
is
it
not
into
a Game of Thrones fan show.
I'll give you a little piece, for example. So we know that the Stark family, they all die. The majority of them.
Just the girls
and
left.
so Mama Stark,
Uh-huh.
right? She dies during the Red Wedding.
The Red Wedding.
So
Mhm.
Caitlin Stark was supposed to come back to life as Lady Stoneheart in the books.
Really?
And she does that because Beric Dondarrion actually gives her the kiss of life and exchanges his life for hers. And she comes back as almost like a White Walker, but animated in life.
Wait, but the White Walkers are like not good. They're like not. Does she come back as like a good White Walker?
They find her body in the river. So they pull
Yeah.
it out and they bring life back into it. And
Like Jon Snow.
Like Jon Snow, Beric Dondarrion dies, but she lives. But she comes back almost like Uncle Benjen does. Cold Hands.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like
Okay,
he's
okay.
half dead, half alive. And
Yeah.
then she seeks vengeance on all the people that did her family wrong.
As she should.
So
Right.
all the things that Arya's doing in the series are things
Yeah.
that she's doing in the
In
book.
the book.
Oh,
That's cool.
say
All right,
word.
fine.
Yes.
That's a little cool.
So
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Read the books, girl.
I mean, Arya's
All right.
badass. I guess the last thing is your Arya like Arya from Game of Thrones?
Yes.
Wild spirited and
Yes.
Love it.
amazing.
She is a complete warrior princess. Her favorite character is actually Batman, more so than Barbie's and all that. So she has a Batman bed and Batman cars and bat flying things. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's a car, might be a plane. I don't know.
She might be the next female racer.
she is
Danica
a
Patrick, right?
complete
Is that her
warrior.
name?
Like
that.
she doesn't take any mess. I have one niece, but I have 3 nephews, and she gives them a run for their money.
I
They
love
don't
it.
mess with cousin Aria, because she's
Because she's got a list.
yeah, she don't
She's
play that.
taking
She has,
notes.
She got a list of names.
she has a list of names. Okay, she's gonna do what it takes. Cross them out.
Gotta love it.
Oh, you ate my peanut butter and crackers? Your name's going on the list. Okay? Your name's, oh, you took a sip of my apple juice while I was in the bathroom. Your going on the list.
Oh my God.
I love it.
I love it.
Yep.
Again, Queenette, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this so much.
We had a blast. Thank you
much.
so much for inviting me.
Absolutely. So come back anytime.
Absolutely.
Whenever there's an
I have
update.
to read the books first.
Yeah,
I'm not coming back and I haven't read the books. You ain't gonna be showing me up.
Well, listen, this isn't a fan show for I'm not Tommy. I like the show, but I'm not like committed. So
well, then you're missing something.
Come back anytime.
She really
because
is.
the show is like, it'll change your life. It'll change your Sunday night.
I am watching. I do know what's going on. I am watching, but
Good,
it's not a fan show, so you don't have to watch
All I can say is I'm a self-confessed. I'm so into it that I've watched the entire series that's available 3 times since January 1st.
Oh my God, that's a lot.
Are you serious?
That's a lot.
I'm going to. I probably need to watch again.
I'm on the 4th round, and I'm up to
God.
season 3. Just saying.
So
my
good.
God, it's too much.
It's fantastic. I mean, they inspire me. The writers of that show. I'm like, oh my God, you guys you're otherworldly.
Yeah.
Like, my goodness, the writing.
I want to be Khaleesi.
Supreme. So yeah, in your next life, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing I'll end on is that Candace is a name like Khaleesi. Is like one of those. So Khaleesi's not her name. It means like queen or whatever the term is. And Candace is a name like that. So you'd be like Candace is a name that means like a royal woman, right? Like a queen woman. And so sometimes I live in that place. I'm like, oh, I'm a Khaleesi. I'm a Candace, right? It's like the Candace.
Yeah, you should like make that your Skype name or something.
Right.
No? Own it.
Own it.
Unburnt.
The unburnt.
Mother of
Dragons. Unburnt. Third of her name. Fucker of like problems. Like just fuck up the shit.
So exciting when those dragons hatched. I was like, yes! World domination is upon us.
I know.
All right. Well, come back anytime. I would love to talk to you about anything. So come back.
Yay!
Really, really open invitation to come back anytime.
Thank you so much, guys. We had a blast. It was fantastic.
I love it.
Watch Fox. And the books.
Okay. All right.
Much love, baby girl.
All right.
She's
have
fantastic.
a good night.
I love her.
I love her too. Beautiful.
All right.
Okay. Well, we only have like 30 seconds.
Okay,
so wrap up.
I will give it to you.
So Mom So Hard tip of the week this week is because I was telling you that I'm preparing for this like gala this week and we're actually going out. So Friday we're going to this gala and Saturday we're going to see, oh shit, I just forgot his name. Oh Lord, I can't remember his name, but it's a comedian who's coming to Southern. So we're going to go and see him. And I wish I could remember his name right now because I think he's super funny. Anyway, we're going to see him. So it's a lot going on. But what I found is that I transitioned to this role of like stay at home mom and now like, childcare provider in my house. And I transitioned my whole wardrobe. I wear sweatpants and leggings and fancy sweatshirts. Every day, that's what I wear. So when James said we have to go to a gala, I was like, I'm not that person. And I wish that I had a couple things in my closet that were fancy ready. And so I encourage everyone listening, Mom So Hard tip of the week is to make sure that even in the like life you're living now, whatever that looks like, make sure you have a couple fancy outfits in the closet, just waiting.
Just in case.
Just in case. Like, because I literally felt maybe 6 months ago, I was like, I'm just not that person anymore. I don't wear heels. I don't go anywhere. I don't do anything, blah, blah, blah. And it has made the last 2 weeks a little stressful for me. Because I used to have clothes and I used to have clothes that fit and I'm a different size than I used to be, right? Whether it's bigger or smaller, whatever. We go through these stages where we think we're one person and not another person. And I just feel like I'm realizing this week that you don't have to give up one to be the other. And I wish that I was more in tune to like my fancy side, even though I'm totally breezy and totally, like low key now and sweatshirts and leggings. I wish I had something in my closet that was like, ooh, when it's time,
I'm
gonna be ready. I'm gonna be ready so that I don't have to go through the stress. So I would say, even if you don't have an event in mind or like a thing in mind, make sure that in your closet there is like a freakum dress, like fancy, like gala worthy, you know, like what, like a evening or like formal, you know, like a fancy formal thing. I'm gonna say go out and spend a whole ton of money, but like make sure that there are a couple of things in your closet, because you just never know when the opportunity is going to arise, and you want to make sure that you're ready. And even if it's not that you have it in your closet, but like, you know what kind of thing you're into in this time,
have an idea of what your go-to is going to be.
Of what your go-to is going to be for a like saucy night out, or a cocktail situation, or a formal situation. Because really, the last couple of days have been super, super fucking stressful for me, because I thought that I wasn't that person anymore.
But hubby came through.
But he did, and I got and my mom is like a low-key seamstress, so luckily I have some options that I'm super excited about. But not everybody has a fancy mom who's like a low-key seamstress, or a husband who's going to go on Prime Wardrobe and order you a bunch of things, which I thought was pretty cool. So if you have a chance now, even if you don't have something in mind, like, go out and figure out what your fancy thing is going to be, and like tuck it away in your closet, and then the time will arise and you will be happy that you did. So I guess the Mom So Hard tip of the week is either go and buy a dress or go try on a couple things to make sure that you know what you like.
Have that backup.
Yeah, have your thing ready. I just feel like I wish like I knew what kinds of things that I liked, so that this week didn't feel so hard trying to prepare for this event. But other than that, I want to wrap up by saying that Queenette was super awesome.
I loved her. She was amazing.
She was amazing. And when we were prepping for the call, I was like, I'm so sorry that I hate Fox News, but like, I really want to talk to you about this, because like, I'm super biased about it, but I love you. And I know that you wouldn't be in a place that was like shitty. Like, you wouldn't subject yourself to that. So there must be something good there. Yeah. And I'm like willing to hear about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like often we're not, like, if I didn't know that she worked there and she was going to talk to me about it, I would have been like, fuck them. I don't care. But I just feel like it was a really good, easy way to get some insight into something that I otherwise
typically wouldn't be interested in
at all. And she's just amazing.
She is. She's
amazing. Lovely. So that's like a shout out to Choate Rosemary Hall, which is our high school alma mater, and Tufts University. Like, Jumbos unite. Anyway, that's it. I am rambling. Catch us on all the things. Like and share the show. I think that's all the things I'm supposed to say. I'll see you next week. Bye. This show is produced by Tom Ortiz at Digital Stream Radio. It's available for download on Podbean. Follow us at Facebook at Breezy Moms Podcast, or email us at breezymomspodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, don't stress, just breathe.